What's up, everybody? Joe Sib here with you and my co-host,
Anaya Bogue.
Rad Parenting, officially kicking off. Super psyched about today's show. First, I got to thank everyone for all the emails. We're getting a ton of them. And once again, today's show is based on an email.
I think more than one email.
Well, this has been an email and a topic that we've been dealing with, getting from you guys, I think since we started.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just taken us this long to get a fabulous guest to help us out.
And when I tell you how I found our guests, you're going to think I made it up because we've been dealing with this studio for so long, getting it all set up, that I finally had time. I told you this last week.
Yeah.
I've been hanging, soundproofing and painting. Well, I didn't do any of the painting, but the dudes that did do the painting, hey, do this. I'm so not the construction guy. Have you learned that about me yet?
Yes. And that's okay, Joe. You're good at other things.
I'm great at writing checks. But the thing, when we started the show, one of the best things about Rad Parenting was everyone started emailing us. You can always email us at radparenting@gmail.com. Also hit us up with our texting. Text the word parent. Parent, is it parent?
Parenting.
Parenting to 313131, and you can ask us questions. And also we send you the episodes before anyone else gets them. But this question was about all of the couples, a lot of the people that before they have children, they're always worried about their pets, and it, particularly with dogs. People are always like, man, I got this dog. It's been sleeping with us in our bed
It's been our baby forever.
Literally.
Now we have a human baby instead.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, Nate, but I always tell couples that get together, and then I'm like, how's it going? They're like, oh, yeah, we're thinking of moving in. I'm like, okay. And then I always know the next step is going to be the dog.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, dude,
Practice.
Marriage or a kid is next, bro.
Yep.
With all of that said, I wanted to find the right person to do a show about how you deal with bringing your baby into the household once your dog has been in there and been the primary, had all the attention.
Right.
And the thing was, I couldn't find anyone to do it. So last week, I'm not making this up, I just went on Google and I just put Glendale, dog trainer, dog sitter.
Whisperer.
I didn't know. You know what's funny is the whisperer dude showed up.
Oh, of course he did.
He showed up. But then I kept going there, and then all of a sudden I found Glendale Pet Resort.
What an awesome, that just sounds like a place I'd like to go. Definitely if I was a dog.
I was ready to go. I was like, seriously, they have photos, Yelp reviews. And then on there, the owner, Epi, who's here right now, Epi Gumate.
That's right.
Did I say it right?
That's right. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I randomly call you last week, Epi, and you answer the phone, and I go, hey, man, what's up? And we start talking. I go, dude, I run this podcast. And right away, I could tell that you had such a great energy about you. And then we started talking about what we were going to talk about today. And the way you answered that question, I remember you got done. I'm all, can you be on the show? Because you're perfect. You just were so awesome with it.
Wow, first try, Joe. Well done.
Okay, it gets weirder. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I hit you an email.
Yeah.
And then you realized that I was the co-owner of Cywin Dummy Records.
Yeah.
Who he went to our new office to see Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters, who was on Rad Parenting play.
Yes.
I just happened not to be at that one show. And then come to find out that not only did he come to the show, but Epi's place, Glendale Pet Resort, and you can check it out, resort.com, GlendalePetResort.com, is seriously 5 blocks away from our office.
Five buildings away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been driving past it. Maybe that was subliminal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, that's a whole other show.
And I won your goodie bag.
Did you get a goodie bag?
When you
I
went
won
to the event?
When I bought Chris's CD,
Yeah.
I was they had a sticker there, and I
You
got
were the
your
winner.
shirts. I wear your shirt probably once a week.
You got a Foo Fighters shirt on right now.
My
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
I just want to say that this feels like certain things sort of come full circle. That you two were just destined to cross paths. You've already sort of been doing so in other energetic ways.
Well, it also, I'm such a believer of just the universe throws you what you ask
need.
for
Yeah.
if you send that message out there.
Yep.
And I literally, that morning when you and I talk, I was like, I got to get someone into the show. And I was asking other people, hey, do you know anybody? Hey, could someone help us with this show? And then all of a sudden I just literally Google, boom, now Epi's here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We have so many questions
For sure.
to ask you. I just, the first thing is I'll just start with this, is that for all the people that listen to the show and you have your dog and your partner's pregnant, you're ready to bring home the first baby, this show's for you, because we've been getting these emails from so many people that have been like, whether it's a German Shepherd, whether it's a little dog. A lot of people, and it was funny because we had an American Pit Bull for years, a dog named Paulo that we love, so some people have asked about that.
Okay.
But the thing I'm just going to throw on the table, and then I'll let Anea take it over, is just first, thank you so much for being here. But the whole idea of your dog and then your baby, like, how do you even maneuver in that? Like, love for both of them.
And you know what? And let me just so everybody understands before you even like dive in here, Epi.
Yeah.
This is a man, and I'm so in this zone of like, oh, all things happen for a reason. So welcome to this particular show where we're going to be doing a lot of that. But you started with a degree, so an education degree with a major in child development. That's where you started, and then eventually life took you to this other place because you also had a great love for dogs, and now here the two are intersecting.
And
I
he's
think,
a dad.
and you're a dad. So I think it's really important that people who are listening understand that we have an expert in the room with us who is not just an expert on dogs, but also has expertise on child development and how we bring those two together in a really great way so that nobody gets hurt and people can make informed decisions to protect their children. So take it away.
And let's not forget, I discovered him.
Yeah, it's all you, Joe. It's all you.
But how crazy is that?
Yeah.
Wasn't I right?
No,
Like,
it's awesome.
I love how I'm like looking at
Good
Epi
instinct.
like he's an object. Like, look, he's here.
He's here.
Take
Okay,
it away,
Epi.
Epi.
Take it away.
I think the first thing we have to do is see how the relationship is with the dog and the owner first. I always say this example. I mean, as a preschool teacher, I can control 20 kids at one time. But if I had to have a substitute teacher, which is a parent, it would be chaos. And their kid would be the worst one. Because you raise a dog with your mind, not with your heart. Because you give them an inch, he'll take a mile. Now, so going back to, when we were talking about off air about, sleeping on the beds and things like that, well, dogs are a creature of habit. So preparing for this baby, you have to start 3-4 months in advance. So, your walks that you're used to are going to be shorter when the baby arrives.
Right.
Sleeping on the bed is if the baby's in the other side of the house in a crib and the dog's with the couple, then you've divided the household to the dog's eyes.
Yes.
So the dog has to sleep on a bed. Yeah, it's a good gig living in your home. So dogs have to earn that. They have to look at the baby as their master or.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay, so already I think there's so much there. So you're saying, as we often say on the show, that before there's even this introduction and the blend of our former family, i.e. us as a couple with our dog, and then bringing this new little person into the mix, there has to be some forethought and some planning that's actually getting, we're already naturally as parents to be getting ourselves ready, but we also need to get the dog ready for that new energy and a new way of being in the house, right? Like in terms of his or her routine.
Yeah, for sure. Like, say I always come to people's homes. So how much exercise do you have your dog? Well, we go 3-4 miles a day. Good luck doing that with a newborn,
especially
right?
a newborn, yes.
So what I recommend is, throughout the months preparing for the baby, shorten your walks, 30-minute, 20-minute, and then start developing that. Now, if your dog is a high-octane dog, a type of dog that Lance Armstrong will be, tired going down the street, then I would hire a dog walker, doggy daycare, burn that energy.
Right.
That way, you still maintain that routine. Again,
and the dog's well-being, right? Because part of getting that exercise is so you're not just sort of putting the dog to the wayside and letting it wither away.
And also, how we prepare. So if you come home and your 100-pound dog starts jumping on you, of course, we need to repair that. So not jumping on people, not jumping on furniture, things like a baby sleeping on, just doing a quick nap on the sofa. Supervise, and you have, Fido jumping on the bed. That's.
So I think a lot of people, and maybe this
or
is
on the
just
sofa,
that this is an incorrect assumption by many people. I would have thought, if you've got a dog that's even like 3 years old, 5 years old, there's just no, like that whole saying, you can't teach a dog new tricks. Is that how it goes?
Can't teach an old dog
new tricks. Right. So if you have a dog that's been with you and is used to sleeping on your bed or getting on the furniture or jumping up and down or whatever, is it really possible to train that dog to behave differently?
I think all dogs could be trained. What's hard is training the people.
So I'm
still going back to where Epi said that the dog needs to treat the baby
Like it's master.
Yeah, because I feel like I slipped into that a little bit. I treat the kids like they're
your
master.
master. Yes.
I'm still in that right now. You know, I got to jump in really quick because the first thing that when you bring up an older dog, new tricks, that is one of the questions that our listeners have asked. Hey, our dog has been with us since the beginning, since our relationship started, since we moved in together, and now my wife is, say, 6 months pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, so they're 3 months away now from having this person show up. What can they do right now to start this process? Because what he's saying is the 3 to 4 months beginning to start diving into it.
Right. So we've already got shortening the walks so
Sure.
that you have a better sense of what is coming and how the dog's routine is going to likely have to change.
Yeah.
What about the sleeping on the bed thing?
Great question.
Well, sleeping on the bed is, you're going to have a couple of sleepless nights incorporating this new rule. So if once the dog jumps up on the bed, you would, take a leash and escort them off the bed.
Right.
You're going to probably have to do it 4 or 5, 6 times before the dog gets it. Okay, I got to sleep on my bed.
And are there treats involved? Is there
you
some
can
form of
reward that.
affirmation?
I think teaching it to go up to a bed is first.
Right.
So what we call in training is going to your place or going
Yes.
to your bed. So you would teach that prior to the bed. It's hard for a dog to understand what to do if you don't teach it.
Right.
So
Giving it, just so that we're clear, so you're saying if the dog is used to sleeping on the bed and therefore doesn't, and I'm familiar with
Yeah,
that whole thing
yeah,
we call
sure.
a place when you trade dogs.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're going to get a new doggy bed.
Sure.
And that is where you're not just taking the dog and putting it on the floor, you're actually giving it a spot that it can recognize, this is the new place that I'm going to go to.
definitely.
and
then
you're starting that early.
you started early.
Right.
And I would not only just do it right beside, the couple, but slowly start moving that bed in different parts of the house, like the
Interesting.
kitchen, hallway, baby room. That
Got
way
it.
the dog understands that, okay, we want to not divide the family.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most dog bites to children are once the child is in movement, so crawling, walking, and because they're all over the place.
Right.
Babies are typically safe for a while, but once the child is in motion,
Yeah.
that's when the bites happen.
Okay, so can you talk a bit about that? Because I would say that as a parent, that would be one of the greatest fears. Is not like, oh, our dog's going to be so sad, but how could this dog hurt our
And I'm
going
to just jump into right now that the first thing that ran through my head would be if I was listening, it was like, okay, if my dog even shows any inkling that they snap or growl at our baby, are we bailing the dog?
Right, okay,
And I
so
know right
let's
now people
do-
will be like, I would never bail my dog, but I got to ask you, I mean, is that like, hey man, you might have to bail your animal?
It all depends on the dog. How is the dog with strangers, people coming into your home?
Mm-hmm.
How is your dog with kids?
like just random kids when you've
kids.
seen the dog
So
around.
I would technically really hire a trainer to do an assessment because each case by case is totally different. I've had dogs that picked up a baby, by the head and threw it across the room. So, I've had clear examples of, kids being amputated,
Oh my
foot,
gosh.
leg amputated.
Wow.
Because the bite
Because
was
the bite
so
is
was
so
so
bad.
severe.
Oh my
now,
gosh.
when I go into these situations where, if the owner just went down and picked up a toy, the dog is already growling at their owners.
Right.
Even the owners are scared of the dogs.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they have to walk on eggshells around this dog and say, okay, he's great with mom, but not with dad.
Wow.
Dog's out. I'm bailing that
Yeah.
dog. Sorry.
Exactly. So
I'm paying the bills. If you're not cool with me, you're out.
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
And I
We're
think
paying,
yeah.
that.
But maybe your kids are still living at home, Joe.
Yeah,
But you
no,
haven't been
I'm
like,
just
you're out, I
saying,
pay the
wow,
bills.
I never even thought about that could be happening before.
Okay, so let's just, because I want to stay
Sure,
focused
sure,
here.
yeah, for
So
sure.
let's talk about how. So a trainer comes in. Let me
Yeah.
make sure that I'm following you.
Yeah.
You have a trainer come in to do an assessment. Always a good idea, you would say?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so because even if your sense is like, we love our dog so much, you may not be able to really see clearly
Yeah.
what this dog might be capable of. So you have a specially trained person come in and do an assessment, and then what exactly, so let's just say that that person determines, you know what, looks like the dog's okay, but there could be some training. And definitely one of the things we should look at is how we're going to make sure that, certainly from the time your child starts to move around the house, that this is not going to be an issue that's going to be a danger.
Sure.
How do you train the dog, or how do you deal with that scenario?
Well, first thing I would work on is control, like obedience. The dog has to understand the basic commands, has to understand where, even the simplest things like backing off. When we're holding a baby, and if the dog is all over, it has no rules about jumping on laps and things like that. You have to start teaching as simplest as that, right?
Okay.
You back off, back, and then the dog scoots back. And this all is not based on negative, but all positive. You can teach every command and teach it in a fun way. Like for example, I teach dogs to put their head in a muzzle, and they're the happiest dog in the world.
Wow.
By just using it as positive.
How do you do that? Let's use
Quick
that example, 'cause
okay.
that's amazing.
So get a muzzle.
Yep.
Put dog food in there. Treats. Hot dogs.
So the dog has a positive association
for muzzle.
with that muzzle and some.
If
wow.
if I slap a muzzle on my belt buckle, and I tell my dog muzzle up, she comes in and stuffs her head and sleeps there, tail wagging, and she's the happiest dog. If I put the muzzle on a chair down or on the corner of the wall, I say muzzle up. She'll look for the muzzle and put her head there, and she's working her.
I've never even heard of that before.
Amazing.
But I think it's where when we put a muzzle on from a groomer's perspective or a veterinarian's perspective, the dog freaks out.
Of course.
So we have to prepare it in a positive way. And there are dogs that I train that are dog aggressive or people aggressive, and I think muzzle shouldn't be a tool that we're afraid of using. I like putting it on because we know for a fact that no one's going to get bit.
Right.
And if you look at it that way, then more people would use it.
Right. Okay, so
It's no different than any
I
other
can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
I was thinking though, like if you put a Coors Light in a muzzle, I might put my face.
You
in
might
there.
push. Let's try that later.
Yeah, if you put but all kidding aside, because I want to stay focused too.
Sure.
Okay.
Just like my co-host. The first thing I just got to go back to really, really quick for everyone that's listening is I learned about this assessment. I never even thought of that.
Right. That an assessment is something that you can actually have.
I didn't even know that was. I didn't even know that was a. Yeah.
Is that a service that you offer at Glendale Pet Resort?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I do. All my training is in home because the problems are at home.
Right.
So
right.
you
Right.
come to their
yes.
house?
Yeah, I come to their home, and I see how the dog is living. I mean, even as simple as scheduling their feeding. I have to ask what time do you feed your dogs? What time do they get their last potty break? These habits are important for the dog to have this structure.
Right.
When you take, if it's all loose and there's no structure, just like a child.
Yes.
Go to bed at 6 or 9. You gotta pick 1 hour and stick to that plan.
Yes.
So
okay.
even if you're wrong, the dog has to believe you're correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even if you're wrong,
Yes,
dog
that
has to believe that you are correct.
Interesting.
I'm getting that. That's a tattoo right there.
Oh God.
On my arm. Even if I'm wrong, I'm going to make you believe that I'm correct.
I'm correct.
Yeah.
Before we're going to get out of here, I'm going to ask, I got a feeling that Epi is like the best dad ever. Can I just ask you one question? Being a dog trainer, has that helped you with parenting?
It helps.
Because I'm learning so many things that I'm going to do.
Joe's going to apply this to his
helps.
parenting.
I have tons of nephews and nieces, and when getting into being a father for the first time, I said, I got this. I raised my sister's kids too. Through school. My wife, my sister was like, I have to go to work. I'll take care of the kids. That was fun for me.
Nice.
And I would make meals and have a buffet for the kids, and they can just come in and get whatever they want.
Well, you're a stay-at-home dad now, so
exactly.
that was great practice.
Oh yeah,
for
I
where
make
you are.
oatmeal in the morning and take the kids to school and everything.
Yeah.
But my wife never had any experience. She never picked up a baby since my son.
Wow.
And she has more of the rules than I do. So she's a tiger mom. Where it comes to that point. And all that training that I had. We're always guilty of giving a little bit more heart to that when it comes to our own kids. But I always tell my clients this, raise your dog like it's the neighbor's dog, because then you don't put that heart into it. Once you have
a little bit of objectivity.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so we raise it, set the rules up, make sure the dog understands where it's placed and behavior.
Right.
And then once you have that, then you can spoil them rotten.
Right.
They're gonna understand that.
Okay, so let's bring it back around because we
Sure.
went on a tangent there.
Yeah,
and I
for
want to
sure.
make sure.
I had to ask him that.
So you said that's okay, Joe. I've got it all. My brain is sharp this morning. So you bring that expert in, and my question was about in terms of taking what the steps that are needed to ensure, first, I guess, assess and then assure that the dog is not going to hurt your child when they start getting up and moving. So you said it really starts with basic obedience, and giving the example of how possible teaching obedience is for a dog by giving the muzzle example, which I think is so potent. So now let's go from there. So you start with basic obedience with the dog. How do you actually address this issue of like, we need to make sure that this dog is not going to bite our child once he or she starts being mobile?
Yeah. Okay. Before say like 3-4 months before the baby arrives, I would take the dogs to parks, have friends who have, more one-on-one.
Yep.
Just even where the child is passive and just offering food to the dog.
Got it.
And so the dog doesn't look at a child different. I think what happens is that if your dog is excellent with adults but never seen a child before,
Sure.
then treat it the same. There's a guilty thing of we say to our dogs, it's okay when we introduce them to new things. Vacuum cleaner, fireworks, it's
Right.
okay, and you're praising the dog at the same time.
Yeah.
So what happens is you tell the dog, you communicate it to the dog that fear and insecurity and new things are correct. It's not, you shouldn't
So
be.
you're bringing calm energy at a moment that they're
Exactly.
feeling anxious or fearful, which is also, again, I'm going to say another great parenting tip, but go
Absolutely.
ahead, Joe. Joe's got his hand up.
You're listening to Rad Parenting. In here, we've got say the last name.
Gumate.
Gumate. We're going to take a break for a second here for one of our sponsors. We'll be right back. Do you ever feel that you do not have enough time in the day to do what you're supposed to get done? You're going to work. You're maybe trying to hit the gym, but you forgot that, I got to pick so-and-so up from daycare. I got to get my dad over to his doctor's appointment. I wanted to pick up the house before I left. Wow, check it out. How am I going to get everything done? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Go to care.com. Care.com. Care.com is the world's largest digital marketplace for finding and managing family care. That is right. Family care needs can be unpredictable. You got sick kids. You need someone to stay home. Man, both parents are out there trying to make a living. Your kids get sick. Who's going to stay home? Who's going to miss out on that cash? Now you go to care.com and they'll have someone for you that can look after your kids. Don't stress your life away. Seriously, most working parents worry about their kids every minute of the day. You're more at ease and more focused when you know your kids or your parents or even your pets are well cared for. Best part is this, care.com provides access to a variety of background check options you can purchase to help make sure that you're making the best hiring decision. That's my favorite part right there. They're letting you know there's a million different things for you to check out on the background check options so you know who's going to be there with your kids or with your parents or with your pet taking care of the situation. Care.com. Check it out now. If you go to care.com right now, you ready for this? To save 30% off care.com premium membership, visit care.com/rad parenting when you subscribe, and you're going to get 30% off. Like I said, the world's moving a million miles an hour. You just want to take care of your kids and all the responsibilities. Let care.com help. We are back, Rad Parenting, hanging out with my friend Epi Gumate, talking about animals, talking about muzzles, putting a sausage in there. It turns into a treat. You'll get anyone to put, an Italian sweet sausage, I'm telling you right now, spicy sausage from Trader Joe's.
Joe's head is in there.
I'm in there. I'm putting the muzzle on and just hanging out because I know a lot of people that listen to the show be pretty rad if you did put a muzzle on right about now.
I'm calling Karen as soon as we're done taping this episode. I'm gonna put this on her radar.
Where we just left off, great question there. The thing that I'm just seeing between what we've been talking about, learning so much. I mean, the first thing that just the whole idea of having someone come to the house and assess. I love the fact, Epi, that you will do that. And is there a way that people can get in touch with you? Because we have so many listeners in different areas that they could email you directly and be like, hey, I'm in Phoenix. Anyone you recommend? Hey, I'm in Seattle. Is there an email for you?
Definitely. It's info@GlendalePetResort.com.
Okay, great.
And, I've been in the business for over 25 years now. So as far as pretty much every state, I would know,
Someone
trainers there.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we'll be giving that email again before the show ends. But does this ever happen? So you have an animal that's been a part of the family. There's never been a problem. But then, because this kind of happened in our household a little bit, is that, my wife had this dog that was just a part of our lives forever. And when she got pregnant with our daughter, I was so nervous about the dog, but she wasn't. And is there ever like a divide? Like one of the people in the relationship are like, look, I don't want this dog around our child. It's too risky. Like that was always my thing. I was like, look, this is an animal.
Why are we taking this chance?
And and at the end of the day, nothing ever happened and we had an American pit bull. It was it loved both our kids all the way to the very end. It was a part of the family. So important to the family, and it was a great thing. But I was always in the back of my mind so just like, it's an animal and these are our children. Do you ever see that division between two people and you kind of got to get them both on the same page?
Yeah, and then what happens usually is the person who's weaker, I just say, just go out for coffee and let me handle it from here.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean
because
if the person who's weaker?
If a person is nervous around their dog with a child, a new baby, the dog's going to pick up. They're going to pick that up.
So I would have been going to get coffee. You're saying.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
A dog can hear a heartbeat from 25 feet away. So if I'm a suspect hiding in a building, I would fall asleep. And some of the dogs are trained for that. They're hearing for adrenaline and heart rate. So if I dress like a pope, I can have a dog, be angry at me.
Right.
But because I'm inside, I can change my persona.
Got it.
So, dogs are great at reading body language.
Yes.
So,
and energy.
Did you just say dress like the Pope?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
I always use that. Because my mind, I always am drifting around, and I was like, wow, I am not paying attention, am I? Like, I was like, did he just say dress like the Pope?
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, okay.
Well,
all right.
Going back to, say like the baby is arriving, say like you just gave birth and the baby's born, and in 3 days the baby arrives. Mm-hmm. I would already start, getting the scent of the baby, bringing it to the dog, letting him know that, okay, because I have this belief that dogs know when the mom is pregnant.
Yeah.
Because of all of the changes, hormones, and they can pick that up. Dogs have
well, I'm guessing that if a dog was on a mother's lap when she was pregnant, that dog could also feel the baby, right?
For sure.
Feel the heartbeat, feel the movement.
Yeah, for sure. All that. And then to go back to your point, I mean, I would even get a doll and carry it like a baby and then see what your dog would react. Now, if the dog is, lunging and biting, towels and blankets and things like that, then again, of course, a professional trainer can come and work with you on that.
How do you deal with even when the toddler starts crawling and, there's the dog food bowl and you always see your kids start to go over there with
or a dog toy that they grab and they want to put in their own mouth?
How do you start almost educating the toddler like, hey, there's areas for our dog and there's areas for you? I mean, do you have to do that as well?
When my two boys were babies, I had to protect my dog from my kids. My kids would harm my dog when they didn't know any better.
Right.
Like 1 year old, 2 year old climbing on top of my dog, biting her, taking. I had a photo of him had mouthful of fur in his mouth, and my dog slept through the whole thing. Wiffle ball bats to the head, and the dog's just sleeping. And so these are things that dogs, my dog is unsupervised with my kids because I trust her. Now, here's the why I do that. It's because, anything that I can do to my dog, your child should be able to do the same. So if I were to get a choke hold and just and give her a tight hug, my dog would be the happiest dog in the world. Now, the child should be able to do that.
Okay, so how do we facilitate that? How do you ensure that the
Now,
dog doesn't react when the kid does that?
It's all about socialization. You have to start your dog from puppyhood, really, to get him used to everything. Now, when we're talking about a 4-year-old dog's never been around a child. You really need a pro to come in and assess that, because every dog is totally different from the next.
Now, okay, so I have 2 questions just to kind of like start, and I'm guessing that our listeners are going to have many, many more, and I'm glad that they have a way to reach out to you. But so the first thing is, if there were 3 tips, like just right off, like somebody's listening right now, what are 3 things that you would tell dog owners who are going to bring a baby into the world, or maybe they've just had a new baby and they're a little fearful? What are the 3 steps that they should take?
Okay.
Bring in an expert to do an assessment?
Yeah.
Would that be the first?
Yeah, I would get a pro to come in and assess. Number 2 is start right away with your obedience training. And then 3, the thing was, the pro is going to suggest all of these little small things here and there.
Sure.
And the third thing is start conducting socialization with the dog with kids. I think more one-on-one rather than
a whole bunch of kids
parking out at 3 o'clock before kids come out.
Right, or at a playground where there's a bunch of kids.
Exactly.
Playing. Yeah.
I would start one-on-one, and then teaching. You're going to have good role models of kids. So kids that are not going to be abusive or come on running and they know their place. I would find kids that have dogs already. Kids that are scared of dogs are not probably a bad choice, because the dogs are going to pick up fear on that. So you want confident.
Oh, so you're saying don't bring in a child who is fearful of dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the dog will pick up on that.
And I want to ask you a question. As we've been talking the whole episode is about, hey, we've had the dog, now our baby's coming home. Okay, I feel like those 3 tips right there like I said, never knew about the assessment. Love it. The one thing that was running through my head right now was, how does it work if, hey, our kids are 5 and 7, let's get a dog. Oh, I want a dog. Let's get a dog, Dad, Mom, whatever. Hey, we want to get a dog. How do you feel like about going to the pound to get a dog? You don't know the history of the dog. How do you feel about, I know that I always hear people like, oh, don't go to the, people that go to breeders, you don't know what you're getting. All of those questions. How do you now, let's say for the people that are listening, are like, hey, we don't have an animal now, but at some point we'd love to get the German Shepherd. We'd love to get the pit bull box or whatever. Yeah. How do you answer that question?
Well, I recommend at least, older kids, like 8 or 9, 10. That's a perfect age for having a dog. Now, when you go younger, like 4 and 5, it's just that as parents, our schedule is really catered to the kids, and the dog is usually left out. So I think once we need a team of people raising this dog, like I would have, like my kid even at 4 was feeding my dog. So again, I had to teach them early about your chores when it comes to the dog.
Sure.
I would threaten my kids, if you don't do this for Pistol, my dog's name is Pistol, I'm going to take her to the resort. So that they would purposely do more, like
they wanted the dog to stay.
And all of that, because it's important for them to understand that, they have to care for the animal.
There's a responsibility.
There is a responsibility. So when you're going with the 3, 4, 5-year-olds,
so better ideally to wait. And if you now, so here's my sort of last question, because I think it's important. Is there, and have you faced situations where a couple who've had a dog, they love the dog, blah, 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 and you go in to do an assessment because they're saying we either just had a baby or we're about to have a baby, and you go, you know what, not a good idea to keep the dog.
Yeah.
Has that happened? And what were the signs that you were just like, this is not good?
Great question.
Probably 4 months ago, a longtime client of mine was saying that we were thinking of having a baby in a couple of years. You think she would be ready for that? And I said no.
And why was that? What did you see?
I know the dog is going to bite.
Wow.
And I love them to death. They're great clients of mine.
Sure.
They're friends of mine. I mean, we were just like at that coffee shop next door, your record store.
Yeah, next to Sunlight.
Right, yeah, and we were there. I was there for an hour talking to them and saying, we were both crying,
Yeah.
And the couple and I, we were in tears because they love their dog so much,
Yes.
but the signs that I see is that the dog challenges them. He growls at them, and here's the thing: I own a doggy daycare, so my immediate clients don't really want to say all the bad things that are happening at home with their
Yes,
dogs,
yes.
because they will know that I know these things.
Yeah.
So
And then their dog might not be able to come to the
Exactly,
resort. Got it.
exactly.
Because it's
So-
a cage-free, right? Open
exactly,
air, blah,
and
blah,
so
blah.
they've hired four trainers before, and I've never worked a dog. I never touched a dog. But I've always consulted them. I was like, I'm seeing certain signs here. So where the owners have been bitten already, things like that. And so I said, if you are someone that your dog trusts so much and yet she's challenging you, what more the third person? So that's where I said, well, we have to get rid of the dog before, and then you can start your family.
Right. Or don't have a baby.
It's gonna be 100%. The dog will bite.
Epi, I feel right there
Wow.
I feel right there, Anaya, that really is been the germ of the questions we've been asked. What do we do?
Yep.
We want to have a child.
Yep.
We're about to have a child. We have a dog. We want to get a dog. That right there, though, I feel answered the question.
Well,
that
I think
you
the
need-
takeaway, like
There
if
you go.
I were that person who was either, pregnant or thinking about having a baby, just the fact that I don't have to feel like fingers crossed, but instead there are actually steps that I can take, not only in terms of this expert coming in to do the assessment, but then there are things you can teach an old dog new tricks. There are ways to create better obedience, to sort of reconstruct the dog's sense of reality in its home so that it can be created as a more safe space. The dog continues to feel loved, and also you can bring a new baby in and just sort of grow your family instead of feeling like one or the other has to limit.
And we went in my household with our first daughter, who's now 15. We went full on cross our fingers with our dog.
Yeah.
And it worked out great, but I will
But
say,
not always.
because my Karen felt so secure, and she had such, maybe I didn't know it, but maybe she, on her own did some of the things that you're talking about with some of the pre-testing, I guess, almost
Sure.
with our dog. But I will say this for the listeners out there that are more like me, of like, oh God, I was so nervous. I love everything that you've said with bringing in someone early, having them sit with the dog, having them come to your household. I love everything you said about 3 to 4 months out, start moving that doggy bed around, start moving the dog around, letting him almost get ready for like, hey, someone's cruising in. I love the idea of carrying the dog. So what?
Someone's cruising in.
Well, you're
Only
bringing
you,
the
Joe.
baby home,
Yes.
I love the idea of cruising around with a doll, I never even thought of that. That might be something I might do today. I mean, our dog's fine, but I just want to see how.
And then when
our
mom
dog-
comes home from the hospital, I would recommend not having her hold the baby, because the dog hasn't seen her in 2 or 3 days.
Oh,
I-
interesting.
So you have a partner would hold the baby
Yes.
in, and then have the dog on leash just to be safe, so we can prevent any excitement.
Yes.
You can be happy and calm, but not wild and excited around the
And
baby.
so right from the first experience, when that child is brought home, the dog's first experience is there's a little bit different expectation. Here's what is expected of me. Maybe there's some sort of reward when the dog does respond the way we want it to, and then you build from there.
Exactly. And like what I was saying before about backing up, when I'm teaching the dog to back up.
Yep.
Think of nursing a baby, and you're on the
Oh,
sofa and you're nursing,
yes.
and the dog is all over over you,
yes.
and you're just saying, hey, back up. And it's
Yep.
not based on I don't want you near me, but just at this moment in time, give me space. And that shows that sort of claiming that
Yep.
this is mine.
Yep.
Dogs don't have to compete, and they will compete with the kids. There are a lot of warning signs out there too, if you're on the floor with your baby and you're hugging, is your dog gonna bombard that
Right.
activity?
Yeah.
Hey, back off, go to your place.
So that's something that a person could test out with the doll, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, I think that there are going to be many questions. Please, please, please. I mean, for the safety of your future child or your current children, I think would be really great to, not that I want your inbox to be just overwhelmed, but I think it would be a really brilliant resource, an opportunity for people to ask you questions directly, find experts who can come in and do assessments, and just create a safe situation so that everybody's happy. You're happy as a couple, the new baby, and your pet who's been part of your family.
Absolutely. And if you want to hit any of those questions too, Epi, he's being nice enough to say he'll answer them. It's just info@GlendalePetResort.com, correct?
That's correct.
And check out Glendale Pet Resort. 'Cause
Yeah.
It sounds like an awesome place.
Yeah, and if you go check that out, you can come down and hang out at Side One Dummy. You can go and hang out at the resort, meet Epi personally. What up? And then you can go down where he said you can get coffee, and then you go hang out at Side One Dummy Records.
Nice.
Maybe pick up a T-shirt or that Chris Shiflett solo record that we just put out.
So good.
Nice.
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
One more time, info@GlendalePetResort.com for any questions about a dog, anything going on with your kids, any questions you have. It's Epi Gumete. He's amazing. My name is Joe Sib,
And Anea Bogue.
and we are out of here. This is Rad Parenting.
Late.